We are just about to get started, so welcome back to Leadership COGS in partnership with Better Spaces. I'm Farnia Furnell, founder and president of the Lensurf Group, and today's topic is boost productivity with AI at work. Now, I know you've already have AI in your daily workflow in Microsoft Word and Excel and Teams in Outlook. And what I'll do is I'll drop a couple files in the chat that we can use to walk through those demos. But as we're getting started, I'm just curious. Um, I, you came here for a reason. There might be a specific reason, something that you might be looking for. Um, how are you using AI at work? For many people, the answer to that is they're just barely using it. They might be coexisting, or it might be something that they're voluntold to do, as opposed to volunteering themselves to step into. Well, welcome, Jen. I see that brand new to AI. Yeah, a lot of people kind of do the basics. I see that basic prompt generation. Yeah, a lot of people just do the basics, and that's perfectly fine for now. For now. And I say for now because AI is integrated everywhere. Last year, one of my mentors asked me how I was using AI, and I felt like strobe lights were like flashing on my forehead. I was ashamed to admit that other than a few apps here and there, I really wasn't using it. And I'm saying I was ashamed because it felt like I should have been. It felt like I was missing the boat or missing the bus in some ways. So I challenged myself and I challenged my business to change that. So since then, we've created custom GPTs, client tools, and expanded our innovation. And to me, that feels like really increasing our capacity. And for you, your employer is likely using Microsoft as an integral part of your platform. I know we are a Microsoft shop, and you may open Copilot and open it once and just ask something generic like, make this thing better and move on. And again, that's fine for now. But the more others start to use it, we'll see things start to accelerate, and that's already started to happen. If you can imagine buying like a Formula One car, some of the fastest race cars in the world, and driving that car at 5 miles an hour. That's essentially the equivalent of using an AI tool and just saying, make it better. It's underusing the capability and really underusing our ability to be a little bit more productive. We spend 8 hours or whatever, sometimes more than that at work. How can you be more productive and take some of the weight off? Take some of the responsibility away from you and get some support as you're embarking on your day to day. So, we're going to walk through a couple micro skills that might help you think, right, or decide things slightly differently using what you already have, the tools you already have. So, before we get started, just flash back to what is COGS. This is leadership COGS, and the C is for celebrating consistency, which is a key attribute of high performance. O is taking ownership of not only your being, but also your actions. The G is the glue and growing out of that glue specifically. And that glue keeps us stuck. And in the world of AI, what that often feels like is this thing is happening to me and I can't move because it's happening to me. It's everyone's talking about it, but I'm not happening with it. So growing beyond that. And the S is the stamina to stretch into whatever might be next for you. So again, our focus today is going to be on that O, the ownership. You already have key tools that can help you. And these tools can help you a lot. This episode is about stretching yourself to do something small, very, very, very small, to build that muscle. And frankly, to re-spark your curiosity. Because once you get the little bit of curiosity, you might be tempted to do a little bit more in this world of AI. So, what does AI stand for? You likely know this artificial intelligence, which is a technology that learns from patterns, it interprets data, and it generates responses in human like ways. So, if you've ever used ChatGPT or heard people talk about ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, Those are all different large language models, or the abbreviation there is LLMs. And what they do is they interpret whatever you're asking, and then they predict, like, what are you about to say? What's most useful? What are you about to do? What are you interested in here? And what they do after that is they respond using natural language, so language that you would use when talking to a friend. So if you're wondering, okay, I get this, I understand the basic premise, but I'm not really using it. And I challenge you, because you likely are using it every single day, even if you're not calling it AI. So when Google predicts what you're typing or summarizes the top search results, when you do a search, that's AI. Now you see this little star next to the top search result. When your maps, Google Maps, maps.google.com, when that app suggests the fastest route before you even ask, that's AI. What it knows is you want to get there faster, and it's making a recommendation. When LinkedIn, many of us use LinkedIn, and when LinkedIn recommends how to respond to a message, that's AI again. And when your email nudges you with want to follow up, that's AI. When your phone camera adjusts the lighting, you're doing a selfie and you see the lighting adjust on your camera, that's AI. So I'll come back to Google and search, because what you're seeing is search has changed from typical search where all you got was about 10 or 20 or sometimes even 100 results back to something different. And that something different is this: human-like responses that show up right at the top of Google search. And those responses are almost aggregated, coming from search engine optimization or SEO, so results that are based on the keywords. It's aggregating GEO, so geographic optimization, saying, where are you that you might be asking this question? And it's also aggregating data in answer engine optimization. So that's AI generated summaries that they're trying to answer the question that you've asked in the way that you've actually asked it. So if you're thinking that you're not using it, chances are you are. And AI is already curating what you see, from directions to decisions. So let's dig in deeper. Now, today we're going to really focus on Microsoft Copilot. And Microsoft Copilot is a version of that same kind of intelligence. And what happens with Copilot is it's like the AI assistant. So if you don't have an assistant, or if you never worked with an assistant, this is like a built-in assistant, someone you don't even have to pay for because your employer is likely paying for you already. So if your company uses Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or Outlook, or Teams, you already have AI integrated into your daily workflow. It's there to help you write faster, to summarize faster, to think faster, and hopefully to free up capacity for more strategic work. So if you have dipped your toe into ChatGPT or something along those lines, but Copilot's different than GPT, because GPT is an outside app. Copilot is within your organization's platform already. So it has access to your documents, to your emails, to your calendar, and to your files, depending on the permissions there. In all of these apps, what you'll notice is this small little Copilot icon. It looks like this glowing spiral or this spark symbol, and it's in your toolbar and just about every single application. And I highlighted a couple of them here on this slide. Word, it's on that Home tab. In PowerPoint, it's next to the Designer. In Excel, it's under the Insert and Formulas ribbon. And then in Outlook, it's right there on the right-hand side. And depending on if you're in an email or not, it might be on that toolbar in another place. And when you click it, it opens this side panel and Outlook where you can type questions or instructions. So the side panel generally tends to be on the right-hand side where you can actually type questions. And those questions or instructions are what we call prompts. And a prompt is just how do you ask a question? Now, if you have actually tried Copilot or ChatGPT or one of these other AI tools, you might have gotten a strange or pretty shallow answer, and you're like, what is the big deal here? Why are people using this in mass? And it's probably not you. You think, oh, it's the prompt. The prompt is broken. The prompt is broken. You're not broken. You're just prompting in a way that is not comprehensive. And so the way that many of us used to use Google search is you put in a word and you see what comes back. But prompts actually ask for a little bit more than that. The way you talk to AI determines the quality of what you're getting back. So think about it. If you were talking to a friend and you were asking for help, saying, hey, can you help me with this? They're likely to ask you, well, help me with what? I'll tell you if I can help you if you tell me what you need help with. But if you share something different, it's a workplace friend, and you say, hey, can you help me write a short update to my team about next week's building inspection or next week's big event? Now your friend actually has context. And AI is exactly the same way. It needs context, it needs purpose, and it needs a tone. So I'd love to introduce you to a simple framework to remember when you're asking Copilot or really any AI tool a question. This frame, call it frame. The framework is frame, and it stands for friend, reason, action, message, edit. And let's talk through what that means. So a friend, talk to Copilot or talk to any AI as you would talk to a colleague. Define who the colleague is. So you're my communications assistant. You are my XYZ. You are my technology lead. You are my marketing champion. Tell them who, tell AI, I'm saying tell them as if AI is a human, but tell AI what role they're playing in the moment. So the friend is the equivalent of a role. The R, the R in frame stands for reason. So this is the why. Explain why you need it. So need to send an update to tenants about, or I need to send an update to XYZ for this reason. And when you do that, everything changes because it's setting additional context. So you're talking to this person, your technology lead, your marketing lead, whoever that is, and explaining why you need to talk to that person or engage in that interaction. The A, the A is doing. So what exactly do you want to have done? So it could be drafting a short email that would summarize something. It might be creating a spreadsheet that will serve in this particular capacity. It could have a whole host of other doing actions, but what's important here is telling the AI what it is that you want it to do and trying to be as explicit here as you can be. Because as dynamic as this tool is, as dynamic as this technology is, it only is as dynamic as our ability to articulate what it is that we want. The M is the actual message. So add in any color, add in key points, add in data, include dates, access details, like include a lot of stuff and as much stuff as you have available. So this is where people get uncomfortable sometimes because they may not have that much. Like, I don't know where I'm starting from. If there is any data, past context from a similar interaction, past context from a similar report that needs to be generated, share that information as it's helpful and it gives AI a starting point. It gives Copilot a starting point. And then lastly, edit. So what's going to happen is when you go through and put in a prompt, you get a result, and that result is usually pretty good. But don't be shy about editing that past result and telling it, you know what, you got this 80% right. I need additional refinements. And going through the process and just going through this frame process one more time, clarifying a little more detail in your story to get smarter and stronger support. So we're gonna jump in here and dig in. So I opened Copilot, and I'm assuming this is folks on the line here might be Microsoft. If you are on Microsoft and you have access to Copilot, I encourage you to go in there now. And when you do, on your desktop, you may very well have that Copilot icon. When you do, I encourage you to do a temporary chat. In a temporary chat, there is this icon in the top right-hand corner of Copilot that allows you to select a temporary chat. If you guys are able, I encourage you to practice this so that it's not just, you came to this session and you're in this session and you are listening, but that you're actually doing something at the same time, because that's where the difference is going to happen for you and allow you to integrate this stuff a little bit more fully. So I'm going to jump down to Word. So we have this framework, the friend. You tell AI the role, the reason, the action, the message, and the edit. But we're going to try this with Outlook. So if you can open your Microsoft Outlook, and I encourage you to play with this. So pretend you're drafting or responding if there's an email that's in your inbox that you haven't responded to, you could test this out. So we're going to try to draft a new email and see how AI can support or Copilot can support you in doing that. So you could open Outlook and click New Mail. And in that compose window, just click the Copilot icon on the right-hand side of the toolbar. And I'm going to see if I can share my screen. So as we're going through this, we can do this together. Okay. And then when you click that icon, I'm going to share a prompt. So you can define the role that you want AI to play in this moment. So if you're drafting a new email, perhaps you say, "You're my communications assistant." Draft a polite reminder to a vendor who hasn't sent the invoice. Include a PO number and ask for an updated ETA. Go ahead and set that tone as professional or however you want to sound, friendly, and share with your Copilot exactly how many words. Like, how long do you want this to be? Is this going to be long paragraphs or something short? Once you do that, click generate. Okay, I see thumbs up. All right, that's great to see. And so here we were in Copilot, and we were telling Copilot, you are, oh, my assistant, draft a polite reminder to a vendor who hasn't sent the invoice. I'm going to say include a PO number. And AI is very friendly in that it doesn't care that I had a typo. I'm actually going to leave that there. Include the PO number, just making this up, and ask for an updated ETA. The tone is professional and make it 120 words max. So let's just see what happens here as AI is going to work. And Copilot is providing us with this message. So let's see what comes up here. Here we go. So let's see what it gave us back. And you likely will get a somewhat similar message here. But it did draft a message with the criteria. It put in my name. I didn't even share that, but it knows that about me because we're already logged in to this system. And then what you can easily do is just copy this response and paste the response directly back into your email message. So all of the data is there. It's very, very simple. I chose this intentionally because very few people are even using this base functionality in uh, in email, and we spend so much time in email already. Not doing something as simple as this could be wasting a lot of your time. Now, not to say that you're going to get this message and it's exactly what you want back, but the time that it might take you to regenerate a new message versus just using a couple prompts to support you and accelerating, it makes a significant difference. What else? So I'm going to stop sharing this, and in creating slides for presentations and taking the time away from having to create from scratch in Excel. You can open your workbooks in Excel, click that Copilot icon, and ask Copilot to go ahead and summarize data from your Excel spreadsheets. Again, in PowerPoint, you can use Copilot to create new slides from raw text. And I realize we're just at time, but I'd love to know you're here today, and I'd love to be able to give you a couple of helpful prompts before you go. So let me go ahead and share those prompts. And if you go ahead and share your email in the chat, I can get you uh, detailed instructions for some of these simple activities. I think I spoke slower than I intended today, but can you guys see the screen there? Yeah, the screen is sharing one more time. And what we have here are just a couple helpful prompts that might be supportive. One is this, uh, you know, asking Copilot in Outlook what to do. Two is the word. Just what do you want it to do in this frame format? Excel variance analysis or any other kind of analysis on your spreadsheets. In PowerPoint, creating a deck, turning decks or text into decks. So turning this text into how many slides you want, what data you want to represent, and getting the concise bullet points in order to very quickly make PowerPoint presentations. And I know this is beneficial for me when I think about the amount of time it takes to make any one presentation versus using Copilot to at least get the project or the process started. So I covered a lot, and I was trying to talk fast and kind of break it down so we start from the beginning, but I think we've run out of time today. So I'm happy to share this and other helpful tips. This is just getting started. I didn't go into custom GPTs because I don't assume that everyone has a paid version of ChatGPT. But here's what I want you to remember. AI is a mindset change, and the real challenge isn't learning a new button. It's learning to trust your curiosity again and to experiment and to play and to see what might be possible because you already have the tools. You can build your own capacity and free your time and allow yourself more time for higher value work, higher value conversations, greater time with creativity, and greater time connecting. Copilot and other AI tools, they really give you the space, but only if you're willing to try. So my ask is that you turn this into action. Pick one repetitive task, a report, an email, some kind of a summary that you do all the time, and ask Copilot to help you to draft or to simplify it. See how much time that saves. Try this for a week. And once you get that result back, edit the result until it sounds like you. And when you've done that, save that prompt. In Copilot, there's a little button there that allows you to save that prompt. And that becomes your new productivity template. So anytime you have the same task to do, you click that productivity template and you're allowed to have this magical something within seconds. So if you do this every day, by the end of your week, you're going to feel a difference. I thank you guys for joining today, and we'll be back in 2 weeks for Get Clear before the end of the year. This was meant to be a little productivity boost, but in a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about how to boost yourself for the entire 2026. So I welcome you guys to attend there. So in the meantime, don't forget you can catch this session and many others on demand anytime through the Better Spaces app. If you have any questions or if you want to connect, scan this code or drop your email in the chat or send a message to team@betterspaces.com. Thanks again for being here. Take care and be well.